Hello, I'm Marcus Boston. In today's video, I'm going to talk about when a family contacts us and they have questions about their baby's HIE diagnosis, maybe it's a recent diagnosis, and they have questions in regards to us doing a birth injury investigation and what are some of the issues that we're looking for when we're doing this for a family. This video is really a continuation of a couple of videos that I've shot. They're already up on my website and on our YouTube page, in which I was speaking with a mother in Prince George's County, Maryland. And I just want to help you understand, when we're looking at these types of cases, where are we going and what are the things that will stick out for us. First of all, I use the term HIE, or hypoxic ischemic encephalopathy. What is that? You may be asking yourself, well, Marcus, what is that? In our context, HIE is a reduction in blood and oxygen, which can lead to a brain injury. Now, there's a lot of things that can happen during labor and delivery that can cause a reduction in blood and oxygen for a baby. But just suffice it to say, our definition in this video is a reduction in blood and oxygen, which can lead to a baby suffering a brain injury. And so when we're doing an investigation for a family, the family reaches out and they have questions. One of the first pieces of information we want to take a look at are the electronic fetal heart monitor strips. The strips. We want to see these strips. And mom, you probably remember when you went in to have your baby, they put this device on your stomach and it was, feeding information to another machine, and it was producing information for doctors and nurses to be able to look at. And so this monitor is important in our investigation because what it does is, in real time, it allows us to be able to get an idea as to what your baby was going through at the time during labor and delivery. And so the monitor is looking at a lot of things. For example, it's looking at your baby's heart rate. It's looking at mom's contraction pattern. There's a lot of things that the monitor is looking at. And throughout this process, you might have, especially at the beginning, you may have things that start out pretty good. The strip may be what we call reassuring. In other words, the baby may have some acceleration patterns. The baby's heart rate, the baseline, may be in that normal range between 120 to 150 beats per minute. Mom's not having too many problems or anything like that. Everything is looking like it's going well. But what can happen in some of these cases is, as mom is moving through labor and delivery, moving through the process, the baby begins to have some problems. And the monitor begins to start to suggest that, okay, baby is not doing as well as he or she was earlier in the process. And when these things are happening, doctors have to pay very close attention. For example, you may start to see some late deceleration patterns on the strip, or variability may become a problem, or you could have tachycardia, where the heart rate, where the baseline is above that 100, and it's up into the 160s. It can even be higher. You may have bradycardia. The baseline may be dropping lower into the 100s or lower, and coupled with a lot of other things that are happening during labor and delivery, this may suggest that the strip is now moving into a non-reassuring pattern. And one of the things that can cause this strip to start to move to a non-reassuring pattern is if the baby's umbilical cord becomes compressed during labor and delivery. Remember, that umbilical cord, it is important. It is in providing the baby with blood and oxygen and other types of nutrients. If that compression goes on for too long, you've got that reduction in blood and oxygen, and now you're looking at a possible HIE issue. Remember, I said at the beginning, HIE is a reduction in blood and oxygen, which can lead to a brain injury. So if you have something, for example, like I said, that compression of that umbilical cord, and that cord is compressed for a significant amount of time, then you can probably see how your baby begins to move into a very dangerous place. Now, the strip, the electronic fetal heart monitor, during that real time, it can show these problems. You may see a sudden drop in the baby's baseline. It may drop down, or you may start to see some prolonged late deceleration problems. There's a host of things that could be happening on the strip that can alert doctors and nurses that things are moving into a non-reassuring place. So when this is happening, doctors and nurses have to they have to appropriately diagnose what's happening. They have to look at it and see what's happening, and they have to treat. Now, they can start doing some conservative things. They can maybe look to move mom on her side, give her oxygen, do some things like that, change her position. Those things, they can start to do those. But if they are not working, if the strip is still bad, it's not getting better, the baby is, struggling, fetal reserves are becoming more and more depleted. If they're not moving into the right direction with this, you can have problems. And sometimes these conservative measures, like I said, moving mom and things like that, sometimes they're just not going to work. They have to move to an emergency C-section when warranted. Now, even with the C-section, sometimes you can have instances where the doctors and the nurses, they may move to an emergency C-section, but it's been too long. They should have moved earlier on in the process. So I know that in this video I've talked about a lot of things, but I'm trying to give you a full picture of these issues. Again, like I said, this is really stemming from a conversation that I had with a mom in Prince George's County, Maryland, and I'm just trying to help you understand these issues too, because more than likely, if you're watching this video today, your baby has suffered a brain injury at birth, and maybe you have questions. You've got that HIE diagnosis, and you're wondering, did this happen, or does my baby have this diagnosis because the doctors and the nurses, maybe the strip was non-reassuring and they weren't either paying attention or they were moving too slow, and your baby has suffered a brain injury as a result? Or is it because of genetics? Maybe there's a genetic issue there, or, and if it's a genetic issue, then, the doctors and the nurses, they may not have any responsibility on that end. Or if it's a developmental issue, same things, that may be the cause of it. But if the cause of the injury is birth trauma, something that happened during labor and delivery, like I said, with the strips and the monitor, if it's something like that, then that is definitely something that you deserve to know. If you have more questions, there is a telephone number down below. What I invite you to do, go ahead and pick up the phone and give me a call. I talk with families like yours all the time about these issues. HIE, hypoxic ischemic encephalopathy, also CP, cerebral palsy. In some instances, not all, but in some instances, some babies that develop an HIE diagnosis, they may go on to have a CP diagnosis, MAS, meconium aspiration syndrome. This is what we do. One more thing before I get out of here. I know it's been a little bit of a longer video. I practice law here in the state of Maryland, just like I said in the video. And if you are not in Maryland, because this video is on the internet, and you reach out to me, because from time to time we do have that, just understand that if this is something that we think we can assist you with, that we have to use what we call co-counsel or local counsel. In other words, an attorney in your state. And that's something that we can, help assist with. But I just want to make sure that you understand that co-counsel or local counsel aspect of things if you're not here in the state of Maryland. All right, that's going to be it for today's quick educational video. Again, I'm Marcus Boston, and I'm one of the childbirth injury and medical malpractice attorneys practicing law here in the state of Maryland at Boston Law Group, LLC. We'll see you next time. Take care. Enjoy the rest of your day.